Kachuk.
You got a Miami Herald hat on. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Anybody else rocking it? Okay, sorry.
Kachuk, Barkov, your status.
Kachuk, yes. Barkov game time. This is not major. The question is, can we clean something up in another day? And that's what we're trying to figure out where we're at. And but we believe that Matthew's good to go.
Barkov was out there for a while, though. Is that something that
Like, he's right there. It's just the medical guys are going to make a decision on what they think another day will do. And if we think it's going to give a 5 to an 8% boost, that's a big number for us. We're gonna think about holding one more.
Is this something that's lingering from before?
Yeah. It's nothing new. It's nothing sinister. He's dealt with it. He's played with it. It's just we think we've had this real kind of upturn, and it's getting way better really fast. And we may want to keep that going one more day.
If he comes
That's
out,
a guy who has no idea what he's talking about, trying to attach words to medical things.
Right. No,
He's going to improve quickly if he doesn't. That's the idea.
who would go in if he comes out?
Because that decision hasn't been finally made, I also haven't spoken to the player that would go in, and more importantly, I haven't spoken to the players that wouldn't go in, and they need a conversation before I let that cat out of the bag.
Okay.
Uvis coming back up.
Uvis is in.
Uvis in, and just what you liked about what he did back earlier, to be able to give him have the opportunity to give him another chance.
Kind of describe him as a gamer, and I know I use that for certain. You put a new player in a lineup, and sometimes they'll play that to survive. They'll play that game not to make a mistake. At the same time, there has to be a limit to that you can't be playing forward if we're paying you to play defense. I thought he did a really good job of trying to make plays that were there without cheating the game, without, the idea if I make this high-risk play, there's a big payoff, and I'm going to kind of risk it all just to stay in the lineup. If I can do something special, maybe I can stay in. He'd go out and play within the rules of intelligent hockey, but it wasn't a passive game, and he wasn't out there worried about the mistake that could happen. So I liked him. He was a gamer. He was involved in us trying to win.
And him and Josh played together in 13, 14 games. Does that familiarity also help for a situation like this?
Yeah, they know each other. Uvis being around here at the start of the year really helps because his call-up comes in. He knows just about everybody in the room. He hasn't seen this place yet, so that was a new morning for him. But for sure, which is all part of that growth pattern of these guys coming in, especially from Europe, that wouldn't know a lot of the players. They come in, they learn the game, they get to go to the American League, play a lot, and then come back in, and it's easier for them the next time they come up.
Bob Bennett?
Correct.
Looking at this blog, we've talked about how kind of grueling it's going to be. How do you manage, obviously you're managing game by game, but at the same time you're also managing basically a month, kind of looking
Right.
at it.
Yeah, 10 games, 17 days, 6 on the road. So, and we're going to start in a deficit of injuries, and I think we're going to get a bunch more. I'll watch the very closely, not so much the style of play or even I know we're going to play hard, but it may not look like it 5 games in. So I'll be a little bit more respectful of certain things, the fatigue, the cost of these games to these men because they play hard. At the same time, we've got 4 or 5 things that we don't like in our game right now, and we're going to stay on those things till we get them just right.
Coach, with Sam Bennett, obviously a lot of talk with what Barkov does, what Reinhart does, what Kachuk does, Tarasenko now. Does what Sam Bennett provide you guys sometimes seem like it may get overshadowed, at least from the outside, about what he's able to provide for you guys?
I would say it would be talked about far more in the coach's office than it is outside it. Now, the players in the room certainly understand that. Sam Bennett is an identity player in our room. So there are other faces. There are other more, media accessible. I don't know if it's something that he's interested in. He's a quiet man, but his style of game and his personality is something we're trying to emulate. Everybody play a little bit more like Sam Bennett. He doesn't say a whole lot, and he plays hard. And he has this really nice blend of very strong street speed. He can make plays. He can make nuanced plays, but he can hit. So he has he's an unusual center iceman because he covers the spectrum of style of play. He can do a whole bunch of things. But in the coach's room, when you're building your team or if your pecking order on injuries is we don't like it when Sam Bennett is out of our lineup, and there's only probably a handful of players beside him in terms of the importance of that.
I know, we know why Uvis went down, the
Yeah.
roster deal and all that. But do you think he got some good experience playing?
100%.
I mean, instead of sitting on the bench as the 7 or 8 here?
100%. There's so much emotion. Like when you look at he and Josh's last 5 games prior to Ekblad and Montour coming back, man, were they playing well? Now, they knew those guys were coming back, right? So they're making their best case to stay in. They were both very good, and Uvis did not. It's not a matter of deserve. It was clearly the most intelligent thing for our organization at the time to have him go down. And then there was no cost in my mind in a lot of ways because Kulikov then moves to a hole with Ekman Larsson, and our penalty kill just goes through the roof, right? So those guys are important people in our lineup. But he goes down and gets to play a whole bunch of minutes of pro hockey. It's still an NHL style down there. And that he's playing bigger minutes than he would here. It's hugely advantageous for him. Because when he comes back in now, there is competition, but we're going to have some injuries here, and we're going to need him to play well. So he's coming back. He does have an advantage on Josh. It's very difficult to do what Josh is doing, wait as long as he has to get back in. We think he's starting to slide north too. But Uvis has an advantage having played as much.
And here's a guy, comes over, makes his NHL
Correct.
debut, gets a 2-year contract extension. I just asked him, I said, it's a long way from being over, but good year
Oh.
so far, and he's like, better than I ever could believe.
I mean, that contract extension was earned, and it was also part of him believing what we were telling him about how important he is to us. So you got to tell these guys the truth, and it's not always easy to do. The truth is you're going to the minors, and we really don't see a future for you here. You don't have to use those exact words, but that's also potentially what everybody feels when they get sent down. Okay, you really like me, but I'm still getting on a plane, right? I'm still leaving. So he got a contract because he had earned it, and we think he can be a part of our future.
Thanks,
All right, guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.